Welcome to Backbone Unlimited. My name is Matt Hartsky. If you're not familiar with who I am, I've been hunting and guiding Western big game for over 34 years, and I've been a professional strength conditioning and nutrition coach for more than 30 years. And I'm here to help you become a more successful and consistent hunter, bear hunter, and outdoorsman. In this episode, we're breaking down how to hunt black bears without bait because a lot of hunters struggle with bear hunting, not due to lack of opportunity, but because they're trying to apply bait style thinking to spot and stalk country. In a lot of states, baiting isn't legal. In others, hunters choose not to use it. And yet, bears are still killed consistently every spring without a single barrel, scent pile, or food source placed by humans. That tells us something important. Bait isn't what makes bears killable. Understanding bear behavior is. Most failed no bait bear hunts break down the same way. Bear hunters glass randomly. They hike aggressively. They expect bears to behave like deer or elk. When they don't see bears quickly, they assume bears are nocturnal, pressured, or simply not present. And that mindset leads to rush decisions and abandoning areas too early. That assumption is almost always wrong. Hunting bears without bait isn't just harder, it's more behavior dependent. You have to understand how bears feed, how they move between food and cover, how they use terrain, and how they react to pressure. When those pieces come together, bears become more predictable even without attractants. This episode is about replacing bait with knowledge, where to focus, where to sit still, how to position yourself so bears reveal themselves naturally, and why patience matters more than miles when you're hunting bears on their terms, not yours. Let's break it down. When you remove bait from the equation, food still controls everything. The difference is that instead of pulling bears to you, you have to go where food already pulls bears, and then stay there long enough for bears to show themselves. In spring, black bears are calorie driven above everything else. Coming out of hibernation, they're depleted, and every movement they make is tied directly to energy gain. That makes their feeding behavior surprisingly repeatable, especially early in the season. Without bait, bears focus on natural food sources that are easy to access, easy to digest, and close to cover. Early green up on south-facing slopes, grassy benches near timber, open burns with regrowth, and low elevation edges where snow recedes first all become magnets for consistent bear use. What most hunters miss is that bears don't roam those areas randomly. They operate in loops. They feed, bed nearby, digest, and return. If food remains good, bears will use the same zones day after day, often at similar times. Hunters who struggle without bait often glass food once, see nothing, and then they move on. Hunters who succeed treat food as a long-term draw, not a momentary opportunity. They reglass the same slopes. They sit longer. They assume bears are present until proven otherwise by a lot of time, not just a few minutes. Another key difference without bait is scale. You're not trying to track bears from miles away. You're trying to intercept bears already living within that landscape, and that means narrowing your focus, not expanding it. If you identify good food and pair it with nearby cover and efficient travel routes, you don't need bait. Bears will eventually show themselves, but only if you give them time and don't pressure the system. Without bait anchoring bears to a single location, movement patterns become even more important because movement is how bears connect food, cover, and safety. Spring bears don't wander aimlessly. They move efficiently between food, bedding cover, and security. Most of that movement happens laterally, not vertically, and usually within a relatively small radius that minimizes energy burn. This is where a lot of no-bait hunts fail. Hunters hike aggressively, trying to cover ground instead of letting movement come to them, but bears don't reward constant motion. They reward patience, positioning, and the ability to sit still when conditions are right. Bears often travel side hills, benches, and contour lines that allow them to move with minimal elevation change. Those routes connect feeding areas and bedding cover quietly and efficiently. If you position yourself to watch those routes, you don't need bait to create opportunity. Another critical piece is timing. Bears often move during warming periods, not necessarily at dawn and dusk. Midday movement between feeding pockets is common, especially on sunny slopes where digestion improves and comfort increases. If you're serious about becoming a consistent Western black bear hunter, I've built something for you. The Bear Hunting ebook series is a complete progressive education system, 7 volumes that take you from mindset to execution. We start with foundations of reality, breaking down the myths and mental mistakes that ruin seasons before they begin. Then we move into bear behavior and movement so you understand how bears actually live, travel, feed, and use wind. From there, we dive into spring bear hunting and fall bear hunting, green up, food shifts, pressure, and why bears seem to disappear overnight. Volume 5 teaches you how to read terrain, aspect, ridges, benches, and edge habitat like a professional. Volume 6 sharpens your glassing and scouting so you stop missing bears in plain sight. And Volume 7, that's execution, spot and stalk strategy, wind control, closing distance, and finishing the encounter. Buy each volume individually or bundle them all to save 60% off at backboneunlimited.com. Bears don't owe you immediate visibility. They reveal themselves on their own schedule. When you're positioned correctly, you catch those moments that others miss while they're hiking. One reason a lot of bear hunters believe bait is necessary is because bears seem to disappear without it. In reality, bears often remain around but become invisible due to pressure and wind rather than leaving the area entirely. Without bait, bears aren't anchored. That means they're quicker to adjust timing, routes, and exposure if something feels off. A small amount of pressure can push bears into tighter cover or delay their movement without forcing them to relocate. Wind plays a huge role here too because bears rely heavily on scent to assess safety. If your scent enters feeding zones or travel corridors early in the day, bears may never expose themselves. From the hunter's perspective, nothing happens. The hunt just feels dead. Successful no-bait bear hunters manage pressure by minimizing their movement, choosing positions where scent blows into dead ground, and avoiding travel routes bears are also likely to use. They understand that the goal isn't to be invisible, but it's to control where the scent and information goes. Another mistake is hunting too close to access. Bears near roads and trails often shift movement to low light or midday windows to avoid people. If you only hunt mornings and evenings, you might miss those adjusted patterns. Without bait, you must think like a bear. Where would pressure feel highest? Where would scent travel? Where could a bear feed and still feel safe? Answer those questions correctly and bears stop disappearing even without bait. Without bait, most bear kills happen during transition moments, not extended feeding sessions where bears linger in the open. Bears may step out briefly to feed, then move again. They may cross an open slope, then disappear into timber. Those windows a lot of times are short, and they reward hunters who are already in position and paying attention. This is why patience matters so much. If you're relocating constantly, you're going to miss the window. If you're committed to advantage, you can catch it. Most no baiting opportunities are earned by sitting longer than feels comfortable. Shot opportunities without bait often come from bears moving between food and cover, not standing broadside in open feed. That means anticipating movement and deciding shooting lanes before the bear even appears. Another difference without bait is distance. Bears may not feed in the exact spot you're watching, but they may pass through visible terrain briefly. You have to be ready for that moment, not scrambling when it happens. The biggest mistake a lot of bear hunters make is rushing shots because bears aren't supposed to be there long. But calm execution matters more than speed. When you hunt bears without bait, you aren't creating opportunity, you're recognizing it when it happens, and you have to be ready for it. Hunting bears without bait isn't about just working harder. It's about understanding how bears already live and adjusting your approach to match that reality. Food still controls movement. Terrain still funnels their travel. Wind still dictates their exposure. Pressure still shapes their behavior a lot of places. None of that changes without bait. It just becomes more visible and less forgiving. When you identify good natural food, pair it with cover and efficient travel routes, manage wind and pressure, and stay patient behind your glass, bears are going to reveal themselves naturally. No bait required, just understanding. If you're serious about taking this kind of knowledge deeper, that's exactly why I built Team Backbone. It's more than just a membership. It's a way to sharpen your edge with exclusive tools, strategies, and a tribe of relentless hunters. Inside, you're going to get 20% off site-wide on all Backbone Unlimited gear, the option to have a t-shirt shipped to your door every month, full access to the digital content vault of guides, checklists, and backcountry strategies, a private Facebook group with direct access to me and a community of driven hunters, direct call, text, or email access to me for personalized advice on training, hunting strategy, or just sharpening your edge, and automatic entry into monthly gear giveaways. This is built for the guys who train for the hunt, push themselves in the off season, and want to be part of a tribe that makes them better. If you're ready for that kind of inner circle, then Team Backbone is waiting for you at backboneunlimited.com underneath our membership tab. Thanks for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, train harder, hunt smarter, and never settle.